Where the drama starts. Lap 30, 8 laps to go. Sandobi hoping to take advantage of these lapped cars. Poleski dives on the right side, very aggressive here. This is lap 4. The two Viceroys, Bill Frazier ahead of Matt Poleski. Frazier's off. Frazier hit the grass. You hit that tire wall, your day is done. You know, it's lap 20. The Williams still trying to get around the Terrell team as he'll go around the lap car and around those at the same time. At the same time, he's got the inside corner. Will he ride the curb? Yes, he will. He will get him on the inside. Vito Maria leading us all into Moss's corner. Look at the beauty as his right side will cook the grass. Oh, a 180, no, a 360. Oh. Who will yield going into this corner? It's really not meant for too wide as it will be Gernald. Gernald will yield. Lots of smoke picking up from that Williams car. He is pushing it to the absolute limit. 26 of 30 now. Only 4 laps to go. He's going to get the run coming out the final corner. He's going to pull up side by side with the leader. It's going to be a drag race to the finish. Who is going to get there first? It's going to be...
The lights are off and away they go.
Extremely loose. He's managed to hold on and he missed the complete that. He's crazy stuff.
Side Freitas is on the grass on the infield before. He slides through. He tags Richard.
Fast cars with walls leering dangerously close around a short and history-filled track. It's everything a fervent group like the Lotus 79 folks want. But as a famous band once said, you can't always get what you want, and I'm pretty sure most of these drivers want to win. Who will get it? We'll find out soon as we get ready to watch round 9 of the Lotus 79 Classic Teams Championship, and you'll see it all live here on the Global Sim Racing channel. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is Sean Ambrose. Behind the scenes is our director, the Dr. Amjad Yaman, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Sean, we're at a fast, narrow track today, but tell us a little bit more about Brands Hatch.
Joe, here we sit flying over Falcombe in Kent, England. First used this track as a grass motorcycle track on farmland. It hosted 12 runnings of the British Grand Prix between 1964 and 1986 and currently hosts many British international racing events. And Joe, this 2.3 mile circuit has 9 turns, a lot of fun, a lot of hills and blind curves, and it's Currently, it's the track of choice today for the Lotus 79. Nigel Mansell holds the world record here in an FW11 Honda back in 1986. 1 minute and 9 seconds, a 109.5 for Nigel Mansell. Had a birthday just about a week ago. Happy birthday to Nigel. Let's get with the lap guide here in the Lotus 79 here on GSRC.
All right, we've got Juha Norlampi in the GSRC Lotus 79, so let's do a lap around Brands Hatch. Coming up to Paddock Hill Bend, expect to see a lot of errors into this blind corner. It's tough to brake steady and hit the apex while maximizing your speed. The car compresses at the bottom, and then you're quickly braking for Druids. This is where many passes are likely to happen, but the braking zone is short, so it'll be very tough. Off the corner, switch sides for Graham Hill Bend. You can use plenty of the runoff, but try not to let the car go too wide because there are dangers in clipping the grass. Then comes Surtees, which is deceptively hard with its late apex. Preventing wheel spin off the corner is not just about keeping the car safe, but also about giving yourself a good run up through Pilgrim's Drop. It's not ideal to have to go too wide through Hawthorne because of how little you slow the car into this terrifying sweeper. Now we're onto the back half of the course. Westfield requires you to barely clip the apex, and once again, try not to drift too far outside onto the runoff. Swing it through Dingledale and then set the car up for Sheen. The apex is almost impossible to see until you're right on top of it. Then you've got Sterling, where the banking really rewards those who carry the momentum right down to the bottom. Finally, you get a short breather on the run to clear ways. This can sometimes offer a chance to pass, but the crest coming into Clark usually causes awkward understeer. As you make the run to the line, hopefully you kept it all together and have now finished a lap around Brands Hatch. Well, as that lap guide implies, the laps are going to rifle off here incredibly quickly. So expect these 36 laps to go by very fast. But real quick, we're also going to go through the Drivers' Championship. Let's take a look at the points and how those sit currently. Up at the top, Gernot Frisch still leading, but only by a scant 20-some points over Juha Norlampi, who's trying his best to chase him down. Didn't do so well last week. Antti Lepisto also within striking range of Juha, sitting in third, having himself gained ground very well recently, having some good runs. Kalle Ruokola isn't too far behind. And then you've got a pretty big jump to Gerd Hofer sitting in fifth. But the top four, look at that spread. 50 points between them. Incredible stuff, Sean. How about the Constructors' Championship over there, Sean?
Well, it's even a little bit tighter over here. 194 points finds the Giro Titans there in first. Nothing has changed since last week. Only the margins by just a slim bit. Alvalade Williams still chasing, only 10 points behind. Parmalat Racing, 178 points total on the season. Right there in striking distance, Colin Bennett, that's Juha Norlampi's team, 171 points. Not out of this thing yet. We still have several weeks left here. Unipart Racing sits down in fifth with an outside chance to climb up into fourth or third there, Joe. But again, a nice tight championship there for the teams also.
So we watch Frisch, our points leader, come around to put his first timed lap in. They've got plenty of time with the short runs that they have around here, a little under a minute and a quarter to put them in. Frisch, let's see what he gets for his first time. Can he put it on pole as he comes to the line and clocks a time? Oh, and it looks like he didn't get a lap, Sean. Oh, puts him under the gun.
And that's a factor here. That is definitely a factor here. Sergio Macias had just gone to the pole, Joe, as we were watching Gernot Frisch. The Iberian there now on the pole, the 113.2.
Norlampi slots into second, about 3/10 behind. It is indeed a factor, so tough to pass here. If Frisch finds himself at the back of the field, that could take away his championship lead. Kalle Ruokola has put himself into third. Michel Vandenberg will not be able to improve more than fourth as he has finished his second lap. Nicola Kochi, same thing, sits in seventh right now as he continues to slide down the order. Gernot now comes up to Sterling. He's got one more corner to go. What's it going to be this time around? Is he going to be able to even get a timed lap in? Up to Clearways. Very difficult with that hump in the middle of the corner. Now out of Clark. Coming up to the line. This is oh so critical for our championship leader. This time through, he puts himself into third. He gets in there, but it's not pole.
Well, he gets it in. That's the important thing, Joe. Yeah.
Talk about pressure.
All right, Antti Lepisto's finally on the track here. Just 2.5, just under 3 minutes to go. Antti coming around, and he gets that's good enough for fifth. But Calle Ruocola, Joe, with their second lap up to second.
Watching to see what other drivers are getting ready to clock. Sometimes in Pablo Suarez, who's coming through Hawthorne right now. Got about half a lap to go. Suarez rated 11th here today. A little bit of a smaller field than what we're used to, Sean, in this series, but still pretty healthy.
Yeah, Joe, I think that's going to be okay for this track, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I think I can agree with you on that one. As we ride on board, looking over Suarez's shoulder, the Iberia driver now comes up to Clearways. And out of Clark, he's got a 1:15.2 right now, sitting in 13th. Can he move himself up the order?
We missed something, Joe.
Oh, it's Frisch.
We must have caught Journo's out lap
exactly.
Initially. And he goes to the pole.
Pulled one over us, and look at this. By 4/100ths of a second for Frisch. It is going to be tight between himself and Sergio. It's another 3/10 back to third with Ruocola.
Well,
Norlampi, and he's done his 2 laps, so this one is essentially for practice.
Wow, what a surprise there. Again, Journo caught us a little off guard there, Joe. But what an amazing lap, and what a way to defend your championship hopes there.
Well, the grid has solidified. Let's go through the order. As we mentioned, Frisch puts it on the pole with Sergio Macias tight on his heels. They're sitting on the front row with him. Calle Ruocola on row 2 and 3rd with Juha Norlampi qualifying 4th. He had a bad run at the ring last time out. He's going to want to hope to improve that position to see if he can run down Frisch in the championship. Lepisto will start in 5th with Michel Vandenberg starting in 6th. Then in row 4, Steve Bycroft will start in 7th. Gerd Hoffer in 8th. That's not going to help his hopes as he's trying to climb up from 5th. He's a ways back. He's going to have to improve that. Nicola Kochi starting 9th. And John Stevens rounding out our top 10. Sean?
Let's go to row 6. See what we're going to do there. QC Clapp. Going to start 11th today. Luis Mihescu there in 12th. Pablo Suarez starts row 7 there in 13th. Timothy Dalton right there with him on row 7. Row back to row 8. Randy Shoemake and Ben Gillette there in 16th. Row 9, Gerald Bowman Brook and Robert Simpkins. Row 10 is going to be Daniel Gattuso and Steve Sarles.
Rounding out the field, drivers who didn't get a lap time in. Paul Schwind in 21st. Francois Gagny in 22nd. And Lauren Doolittle rounds out the field in 23rd.
Joe, lots of difficult braking zones here. Attrition could be a factor. It's going to be up to these guys to kind of keep it clean. If they want to win this race, it's going to be it's going to be a lot of fun. The very first turn, a big danger zone, getting up that hill and then down the hill to the right there.
Absolutely, things are going to be tight as we watch our drivers grid up. And with 36 laps, they're going to have lots of opportunities to come into the few braking zones that offer a chance to get by. But I think most everybody is mostly going to be looking for mistakes from the car ahead and capitalize on them. The question is, when are you going to get them? The back half of the course, incredibly narrow, incredibly fast, very few chances to try and get by. If someone has a little bit of an off, they have to have a serious problem to try to get through. Can see just a few more, then we go racing here for 36 laps for round 9 of the Classic Teams Championship. The Lotus 79 guys organized this alongside the iRacing Championship. Now we have our pole sitter on the grid, Jerno Friesch. He's been on a tear this season, has had some incredible results. That was after a rebound from Juha Noralampi, really showing what he can do in the first few rounds here on the broadcast. So we wait for the lights to come up there on the winding Brabham Straight. Lights are up. Engines are revving. Lotus 79's waiting for the green flag, and there it is. Off of the line, a very bad start from Sergio Macias. That's got Kalle Ruokola already looking to his inside, but he breaks deep down around Patakill Bend. He might be able to hold on to this second place as they come into Druids. He tries to send it deep again, but it's too deep. He loses one place. He might lose two places, but he holds off Noralampi as everybody behind streaks through now.
Yeah, they're still getting through this here at the back of the field, Joe, all getting through Graham Hill Bend.
Most everybody getting single file as they come up to Surtees. We got a car getting loose. That looks like Ben Gillette. And he's very much under threat from Timothy Dalton down in a Hawthorne. This is a fast corner up here. Dalton's going to have the inside, and they're going to try to go too wide on lap one. Dangerous stuff, but they managed to get through it.
And Gillette hangs on somehow, some way. Again, he's got to hang on. He's off into the dirt.
Randy Shoemaker's trying to sneak to the inside. I told you it takes a lot to capitalize on a mistake here on the back half of the course. Incredible that we've had things as clean as they are, as frantic as it is in the mid-pack. But up at the front, Jerno still leads the way. Ruokola has managed to get by Sergio on that first lap and demoted him to third. He's going to want that back soon.
And a great start for Kalle Ruokola. Trying to climb the championship points ladder. Good way to get it started.
Very much so. And though Sergio was close up into Druids, he was not close enough. John Stevens and Suarez had a problem into Druids. Suarez gets it turned around, but yeah, Stevens keeps going.
Boy, it started with Stevens. Unfortunately, he starts to slide going into the hairpin here.
I tell you what, Livius Mahescu had a very close moment. Unfortunately, we don't have time to go back to the replay right now. That very much put him under threat and lost him a position to Timothy Dalton. Did a great job pouncing on that. That puts Dalton into 11th. Just behind them, we saw a glimpse of Robert Simpkins and Daniel Gattuso going side by side through Westfield. Not an easy task.
Yes, Simpkins put the move on him, man. Said, get out of the way. That got him up to 15th, Joe.
We ride on board with Gattuso as we come up to clear ways up over the hump. Coming up on the Williams, he's closing in. Could he attempt to move into Patakill Bend? It's very difficult breaking steadily into here, but they got to stay single file. Oh, and Ben Gallet is off. Comes back on. Behind them, you saw another attempt from Gattuso to try to get by Simpkins into Druids, but wasn't successful. These guys fighting hard in the mid-pack.
Boy,
not missing much up at the front. Go ahead.
I was going to say, Gattuso's still looking to make a move, but now he's got to be careful because got traffic coming here.
And that's John Stevens, who, remember, is out of position because he had a bit of a problem in a Druids a couple laps ago, but he's not close enough to Gattuso. Up to Hawthorne. Really hounding him, though, getting underneath that gearbox right there and loses time, hurting his momentum through Westfield. Love this battling that we're seeing here in the lower middle pack. It's really gone mostly single file with nobody close to each other up at the top. The closest I'm seeing is Steve Bycroft trying to get ahead of Nicola Kochi. This is for 8th position. Steve in his traditional yellow and black colors, the Indiana driver, trying to dethrone the Ferrari of Kochi. actually got a bit of a train ahead of them as well, with Gerd Hoffer not too far behind Michelle Vandenberg for that 6th position.
Very, very intense battle by several drivers still all the way through the pack, honestly. Ben Gillette still being chased by Robert Simpkins. Those two having a really, really good battle here. Robert trying to get the run on him here up the straight.
Into Hawthorne, not close enough this time. Sean, in your practice, are they breaking it off through Hawthorne, or is it just a lift?
It's a turn in there at about the 50 and just a hair of a lift, but you're pretty much flat out there.
My goodness. 2nd place starting to heat up as Sergio Macias is now gained on Ruicola. Remember, that position was taken away at the start with a bad get off the line for Sergio. They're going to stay line astern through Druids. Just at this point, scoping things out on Ruicola's blue and white Lotus 79. Ligier got himself sneakily into 2nd position. Up into Druids. Took about 2 corners as he tried it into Paddock Hill Bend and had to rally back at him. Now as they come into Hawthorne, boy, the Iberian driver really wants to try and get it back from the fin.
And Journo Frisch will take all of this he wants. It's already gotten up to a 2-second lead, Joe.
There you see the Williams of Frisch. Has got a healthy lead at this point, but any mistake could set him backwards into the clutches of these two. He's got to drive clean and he's got to drive fast. Already 5 laps in, about to hit number 6. So far, only 1 retirement, Gerald Bowman Brook, who's not been having a good couple of weeks. Last broadcast race had problems into the Antonius Beach kink at the Nordschleife, coming together, I believe it was with Lepisto.
Come on, Joe, you brought that up just because you wanted to say Antonius Beach.
It's a fun name to say.
It is.
Pretty much a pressure cooker up at the front here, Sean. No attempts from Sergio, just kind of staying behind him.
I know there's not a lot going on up there, but man, back here, 15th place, Gattuso, Robert Simpkins in 15th, Gattuso trying to take it away. Gattuso, but a very, very busy man, whether he's been overtaken or trying to take a spot back, but it's fun watching him run right now.
Sandwiched right now between Stevens and Simpkins. Meanwhile, Kochi,
oh no,
with an off. I think there was a slight contact with the wall. He had another off before that. I don't know if we're going to see it. We just missed it.
It's going to get the left. Sorry, Joe.
Yeah, it was coming out of Hawthorne. He had an initial off that sort of seemed to have unnerved him. And there you can see, there's where the second one that caused the spin out of Sheen.
Yeah, and he got the left rear out into the grass. And you don't want it there. It spun the car. Finally gets going again with a little bit of damage.
I was going to say, he had a slight bit of contact, but it was exactly where he didn't want, on the corner of the car. I wonder if he's worried at all about suspension damage on his 79.
Well, we'll know here in a moment because Timothy Dalton is right behind him.
Dalton closing in just under 2 seconds, but Dalton might not be worried about Kochi at the moment because Livius is right on top of his gearbox in 12th. Ooh, things are getting very tight once again for second place, though. Here comes Sergio Macias with a great run off of Sterling. He's going to have to go the long way around as they come up to Clearways. He's deep on the brakes. We saw this story once before at the start. It doesn't work yet again as he gets into the gray stuff and can't carry his momentum. He switches back, trying to get a draft, covering off the inside. Ruicola tries to fend him off, but can he get the exit coming off of Paddock Hill Bend? Sergio Macias has no answer. Once again, trying to go hard on the brakes, and this battling is bringing Nora Lampe close in behind them. Still, no opportunity for Macias as he has to stay at the bottom of the podium.
Joe, I think Sergio's having fun today. He's feeling this track. Golly, not giving him anything though. Not leaving a door open, not even a sliver.
I hope it's fun and not frustration for Sergio. After knowing he could be faster than Ruicola, he's been hounding him all race long so far. And the last thing he's going to want is to let him get flustered around a track that requires precision.
I think this battle between Michel Vandenberg and Jared Hofer is heating up, Joe. Jared has been following very patiently, but I think it's time.
Down to about 3/10 between them. Battle for 6. Great run off of Clark for Vandenberg to hold back Hofer. Ooh, way off the apex for Gerd coming through Paddock Hill Bend once again, preventing him from really getting up close and being able to attack Michel. That Red Bull wing very much still in the sights of Gerd. Simpkins getting on the radio complaining about Ben's connection, not very happy about it.
Other drivers affirming that. Everybody working together, Joe.
Yeah, Ben, it's pretty much all single file. Everybody really just trying to poke and prod and find a way around the car ahead. Speaking of which, Ben Goulet is doing that on Randy Shoemake. He doesn't worry about the cars behind. Yeah, he gets a great run off of Surtees coming up to Hawthorne. Is he going to try too wide through here? Not brave enough as he backs out of it. 2 DNFs so far now as Lauren Doolittle joins Gerald. And I tell you what, that 3rd place is starting to look a little bit suspect. It's no longer Macias threatening Ruicola. Now it's Nora Lampi and Lepisto closing up on the back of the Iberian.
He just knew Juha would be a factor in this at some point.
Still, this is not the form we're used to seeing with Juha. The start of the season, it looked like he was unbeatable. Preacher currently holding down 4th place just outside of the podium, but 2 of his main championship rivals, Ruicola and Frisch, are ahead of him on the track. That's not what he wants.
Still a ways to go. We've only knocked out 10 laps here.
And Goulet gets Shoemake as he lets him through, got on the radio and told him to go on by once he got a run on him. That demotes Shoemake down into 13th.
And to be fair, Goulet had been working on that for a while, Joe. He's up 4 spots.
Yeah, I was going to say, we're really not seeing a whole lot of movers. Goulet is one of the biggest ones, and Robert Simpkins as well, going from 18th to 14th. Other than that, most everybody's pretty close to where they started.
What I've started to notice here in the first 11 laps of the race is it takes a couple of laps to really set somebody up for a passing opportunity. We've only seen 1 or 2 that were, instant right there, last second dive or whatever. But early on in this race, you really have to set it up.
Gerds Brabham being one of those. Still sitting in 7th. He's been working on Michel Vandenberg for a number of laps, but now he's got Steve Bycroft. I agree, Sean. Very much a chess match out there today. Owen Sarles, is he having some problems? It looks like coming out of Graham Hill Bend.
He did. Boy, and Timothy Dalton's just going to get by that. Wow.
Taking off to the outside to try and avoid him. You're going to see the Texas driver work that Renault all the way around as he loses it on entry. Loops it around, gets it going again. We're going to go watch on board from Dalton to see how narrow of an escape this was, and that Brabham.
Dalton just going to get by, having to run it all the way out into the grass.
Great call for Timothy. saw what was happening, interpreted the momentum correctly, just managed to sneak through. As we come back to Timothy, he's now under threat from Pablo Suarez, who again had problems at the start of the race. He's out of position. Not missing anything up front right now. This fight for 17th, one of the closest. Second place closes back up in a hurry.
Yeah, it looks like Cali Ruocola and Sergio Macias are having a little fun again.
Riding on board with Sergio.
Lap traffic in front of him coming by Francois Gagne.
Francois dutifully moves out to the outside of Druids and lets the pack of cars through all the way back to Lepisto in 5th. Nice job.
Really was a really nice job. It still brings them together just a little bit, though. Just having to get around and be cautious of that, Joe.
Absolutely. Still, I think a bear claw is in order for Francois at Bill's next meeting. As we watch Sergio come up to Hawthorne, just holding station, just a couple car lengths behind Ruocola. This must be a tough one with the wake of the car ahead interrupting the air.
It really is, Joe. Yes, and that's what I was talking about just a moment ago, about it, having to set up these passes. It is so turbulent. You've really just got to pick the right spot to get it done. You just can't seem to find yourself close enough on these straightaways to catch enough of a toe to make that pass.
Macias within 3/10 once again, heading up the front stretch, but the toe not strong enough as he misses the apex over Paddock Hill Bend, swings a little wide, has to collect the car back together. Now they slow it up for Druids. Does getting close to that car in front, does it wear out the tires a little bit quicker? Does it overheat them?
Yeah, on this track, yes, because you've got just some, let's face it, blinding speeds, and it always seems like you're running off. You are getting heat in the tires. Once you get up next to them, it can wear them a little bit, but I didn't run a full 36 laps, so we'll see a little bit closer here to the end. Notoriously, though, these tires are pretty good for grip. I would expect, though, with 100 degrees on track today, Joe, that could be a little bit factor as we probably get in like 25 laps in. Those last 10 laps could be really exciting for these guys.
Undoubtedly. Now, Gagne is off track. Let me see if I can figure out what happened to him. Oh, he had a problem in his Surtees, made contact with the wall. One of the lapped cars, unfortunately, ending his day way more prematurely than he would have hoped as we look at the replay here, Sean.
There's Gagne on screen, the Canadian driver, coming up the hill. Oh, Joe might have gotten back to that throttle a little bit too quick right there. It spins him around.
And that McLaren is done. We've come back to the Williams of our leader, but the battle for second was getting incredibly close, probably the closest we've seen it, as Sergio was right under the rear wing of Ruocola through Surtees. And once again, even though Pilgrim's Drop is one of the longest straights, it just is not long enough to allow the draft to get him by. And now they come through the back half of the course. He's still holding on once again. They've stretched away from Orlampi, so he doesn't have to worry about the car behind for now. They come into Sterling. A lot of banking in that corner that can help you really carry the momentum, but they're going to be equal out of there.
Joe, things getting a little crazy here back at 12th with Randy Shoemake. Just behind him, Ben Gillette, who had a problem back in Sterling's Bend.
As Simpkins gets a great run on Ben Gillet. They're coming up through, and it looks like maybe he's going to lose 2 positions around the outside. John Stevens bravely gets it through and cuts him off. Stevens trying to recover from a bit of contact, and Druids on lap 2 all over the back of him. Here comes Ben, poking his nose in, but it's very hard going too wide through Sheen, so he's going to stay in order. Now he's going to have another go coming up to Sterling, sends it in deep, shoves him out of the way, but gets off course. Stevens gets on the radio, upset with the move. Still, he loses the spot as Gillet claims it back in 14th.
Boy, John Stevens having quite an adventure today, Joe. Gillet, though, with his problems still, and Gillet's going to give the spot back.
Beautiful sportsmanship from Ben. That is a great job there. Not wanting to take it in suspect circumstances, and John Stevens gets promoted back into 14th. Oh, and a mistake from Stevens.
Got in a little hot, Joe. Locks him up.
Well, that makes it a little bit of a moot point. So Stevens with more problems. That seems to be his Achilles heel today down into Druids, as he is well behind Ben and has actually got to worry about Gattuso behind him instead. If you're a fan of Journo Frisch, no need to fear. Still about 5 seconds ahead. Has been unfazed. He's still dealing with traffic as Steve Starles in the Renault dutifully moves over. Behind him, things still tight between Macias and Ruicola. If Sergio can't get by this whole way, it is going to look like a masterstroke of Kai on that first lap, sneaking into second place. 7th place, side by side between Bycroft and Hofer. Hofer had the inside and a Hawthorne, and he takes it.
Wow.
A replay there. That was kicked off by a mistake by Hofer coming out of Surtees.
Oh, we're missing the battle on screen. Side by side, kind of Ruicola and Macias.
Macias around the outside of Paddock Hill Bend. He tries to pull an over-under, get himself the run, was just a little bit off the apex, but he's right there. Once again defending the inside. Ruicola holds him back. The Fen placing his car perfectly in the middle.
Man, Sergio was past him at Clark. Had literally gotten wheels in front of Kai.
That was probably his best opportunity yet. Sergio wondering what's it going to take to get by this Ligier.
Well, I think I know where he wants to make the move. At Clearways and out of Clark, it seems like the spot to attack.
Certainly does. This has been an exciting one, even though it hasn't had a whole lot of action. Just a nail biter up at the front. It amazes me too that despite all this, Nora Lompy has not been able to close in and really start to put the pressure on these two. Now they're going to have to deal with the traffic of Steve Sarles, who's going to move to the inside, up the pit straight. Lets all three of them by. Nora Lompy gets through as well. Macias very close this time. He gets a run. Is he going to be able to look to the inside into Druids? He does not. Goes a little bit wider on entry. Is he going to try and square off the corner? Not quite successful as they come down to Graham Hill Bend.
You know, Joe, I think Juha might be doing the right thing here. He sees what's going on up in front of him. This gives him enough time to react to something that may go amiss in this battle just ahead.
Not missing
a podium spot.
Yeah, absolutely. 2 podium spots if both of them run into trouble. We're not missing anything else throughout the field. The closest fight is between Hofer and Bycroft, and that's 7/10 between them. As they work their way through the back half of the circuit, up through Sheen, now into Sterling. Noticing that Macias is holding a lot closer now, consistently. Coming up to Clearways, what can he do if he can get the run off the corner? This is important, but just struggling to find the grip. He's still very close. He's got the slipstream, but as they come up to Paddock Hill Bend, he once again runs out of track. Oh, he's figuring out how to run in the wake, though. He's staying just within a car length, and Ruicola feeling that early turn in, trying to hold him off, trying to cut off the path if he tries a late dive. Could Ruicola be struggling now? Could the pace be swinging back to the Iberian? Gets a little bit of a breather coming out of Surtees. Great exit from the Finn. We ride on the nose of Sergio, now jumping off board as they swing down through Dingledale. Ooh, a huge bobble from Kyle Ruicola through Sheen, but he holds to the inside on Sterling. This could be the opportunity that he needs. It interrupts his exit coming out of Sterling. Now into clear ways. They're going to be side by side into the corner. Sends it in very deep. This is the best opportunity we've seen. He gets around his inside, covers off the inside immediately, trying to keep the Finn from coming back at him in a Paddock Hill bend, but he swings back to the outside. He gives him the inside. Could this have been a mistake? Here comes the Finn. Kyle Ruicola has it down into Druids. Comes back at him deep into the brakes through Druids. Now Nora Loppi comes in on him, and I think that Ruicola has successfully defended. What was that move? Up into Paddock Hill bend.
Insane, Joe. Absolutely insane.
Why did he take the outside, though? Oh, and a big bobble coming out of Surtees. That loses him time, but I don't think it's going to be enough for Nora Loppi. Takes a look. Ooh, and that hurts him coming out of Hawthorne. So we ride on board with Nora Loppi. Sean, I just don't understand that move. He had the inside and he gave it away.
Joe, maybe he prefers that line from the outside turning in down the hill. Not quite sure. That was awful strange. I'll tell you what, though, things are going to heat up here for our leader, Journo Frisch, real quick. He's approaching a lot of traffic just up in front of him. This should be exciting to see how he navigates his way through that as the rest of the field tries to catch him. Kyle Ruicola with this fight going on there with Sergio and now Juha. Boy, that's going to be awful tough for them to catch Journo, but trouble could be just ahead if he doesn't navigate this traffic carefully.
He's going to want every inch of that 7.5 seconds gap in case that he's slowed up. He's going to get one here. First up is Gattuso, slowing to let him by before Hawthorne. He's got a little breather before Stevens. And then, as you said, it really gets close between Gillet, Shoemake, and Simpkins, who have been battling most of this race.
They've got the right attitude. They're not interested in a podium finish at this point. They know where they're at on track and where the leaders are at. They've got at least a pretty good idea. They are worried about the battle they've got going with each other, and it's been really fun. And Ben Gillette not out of this thing yet either, Joe. It's been up and down race for Ben, but certainly good positions in front.
Leading steadily behind Shoemake and Simpkins, close together. Simpkins, I believe, the teammate to our leader, Frisch, and the fellow Williams. Macias has already regained the ground that he lost on Ruicola. Is he going to stage another attack? We've got 14 laps to go. Still a long ways in this race, Sean.
Hey, 36 laps, man. 36 laps. Definitely can confirm that Simpkins' teammate there of Journo Frisch.
Frisch gets by John Stevens. Now comes the hard part. 3 quick ones in succession. And from there, he's going to have a very clear track because Simpkins has 24 seconds up to 11th place, Mahescu. Here we see our battle for second, still heating up. Gets close on him coming out of Clearways into Clark. Now onto the front stretch. He's got to run this time. Is he going to stick his nose in? Ruicola holds off to the inside once more. Tries to swing it out wide. Stays way off the apex. Sergio Macias looks to the inside down into Druids one more time. Not going to get it. Really putting the pressure on. Coming up to Surtees, loses a little bit of ground out of Graham Hill Bend. They are coming up on the lap traffic that our leader had to work his way through. That's Timothy Dalton up ahead. Right now, Frisch is in the thick of that. Shoemake is up ahead of him. He's overtaken Ben. And he's in a horrible place to try and make it happen. The back half of the course. Oh, and Shoemake with a mistake! And that costs him dearly as he comes across. Nearly gets hit by Stevens, who manages to slow. Shoemake through Sheen. Whew, I don't know about you, Sean. This is always one of the scariest corners in racing for me.
Yeah, absolutely. And that car comes back out on the track just across. Nice.
As we come back live, still only 2/10 between Ruicola and Macias. Not going to be able to attempt it now.
Joe?
Go ahead.
I was going to say, you know, we haven't talked about QC Clapp at all. Having a good race in the top 10 there, in 9th, up 2 spots, but hasn't had any trouble with anyone. That Red Bull is clean and completes another lap, and whereas he got 14 seconds to get up to Steve Bycroft, no real threat from behind to QC. This is a solid run. This is just taking care of the car, staying out of trouble, and if you're racing to improve that I rating, this is a good example of how you do it.
Very much so. Good run by Clapp. You can see by the, as we switch back to the battle for second, you could see with him also running that Red Bull scheme. He's the teammate for Vandenberg, who sits in 5th just ahead. Ooh, another good run there from Sergio off of Sterling. Is he going to stick his nose in potentially? Bit marginal up into clear ways there. Oh, but he gets himself a fantastic run. We've seen this repeatedly. He's finally figured out the trick on that final corner out of Clark. Can't seem to do anything with it. If he could just get the over-under, but that car is sliding around that crest, that blind crest of the first corner.
And this is that last 10 laps that I talked about, Joe. I think you're going to see those cars start to slide even more. I had said to our director in the pre-race, sometimes it feels like you're sliding off the world in this car at this track.
They've come up to John Stevens. Gives him some instructions on the radio that he's going to stay right. Should see a big lift from him here. Knows this is the battle for second, even though it's separating just a little bit. Doesn't want to get involved, and Ruicola and Macias both get easily through. Speaking of Vandenberg, 6th place is certainly not safe. Gerd Hoffer has been threatening him for quite a while in that Brabham.
Boy, and you could bet Gerd and hope for a better race, but it was qualifying that hurt Gerd. Gerd running it out there on the grass. Boy, that's tough.
Dangerous.
Yeah. You know, Joe, and that's another thing we haven't really talked about at all. I mean, some of these drivers might be pushing the limit right now, the 17X limit today. It's easy to pick up an X here going off or out of control. We've seen that.
They get by the car of Timothy Dalton, pulls over, lets these 3 through. That's Steve Bycroft rocking up to the back of this fight. And that's looking at 2nd place there, Sergio Macias, once again, coming up through Pilgrim's Drop. Iberian has to start thinking, what other tricks are there left in the book here? He's thrown everything, including the kitchen sink, and now he's starting to feel the pressure as he has an off coming out of Hawthorne, costing him time. Another off. Oh, Sergio starting to push a little bit too hard now.
Can't say I blame him, but that can cost you.
He's got to try and hold on to this podium. Too many times dipping the wheels off into the grass could bite him. Better to finish 3rd than into 20th. So far, right now, only 13 cars left on the lead lap. They're coming up on more traffic. They've got Gillet and Simpkins up ahead, and this is closing them in. Could traffic play an opportunity? Could a pick be what the doctor ordered for Macias?
What a tough spot to get caught right here.
Compromising the line for both drivers. They managed to get by Ben.
Boy, Sergio was really, really loose there out of Surtees.
He's trying so hard at this point just to get that second place back. That's all he wants, is one position to get back where he started. Look at how much Simpkins is holding up Ruocola, though. The Finn has nowhere to try and get by, and he's not moving over. As we mentioned, Simpkins, a teammate for our leader. I don't think he's going to be playing dirty, but he's certainly not doing them any favors.
Oh, he's racing hard, isn't he?
And now he orders them to go by, lifts, but once again, not in the most convenient places. They have to take alternate lines into the tricky Paddock Hill bend, but no order change.
Juha Norlampi back there coming through now, too.
The fellow Finn has been trying desperately to get up to these guys, but just has not had the pace here today. That sixth-place fight with Michelle Vandenberg leading the train. We've been kind of keeping half an eye on it. Not only is Hoffer in it, but Bycroft has now caught them.
John Stevens up just ahead of them. Lap car letting him know, please pass. Getting out of the way.
A lot of very polite drivers there at the back of the field, not wanting to interrupt what are some intense battles up at the top of the field.
Sportsmanship at an all-time high today, Joe.
I think they know what's at stake here at a track where it is so hard to get things right and so easy to get things wrong, not wanting to ruin the race of the sharp end of the field, who are really slicing through these back markers.
Sorry, Joe. Sergio Macias, big trouble coming out of Paddocks Hill Bend. He got all the way off into the dirt, almost lost it. Still, though, maintains pace enough to hang there with Kyle Ruocola. Amazing save.
At this point, Sergio just using grit to keep in it. Multiple offs in the last few laps. Better hope that he is not getting incidents with these wheels dipped off here and there. Could be tight for him come the end of the race.
Oh, it's going to be tight, Joe. My little tracker says he's definitely close.
The plot thickens. He's dropped back a little bit, too. 6 laps to go for Jarno Frisch up at the front. Hasn't seen a lot of action other than lapping traffic. I'm sure that's exactly the way he wants it as he extends that lead to nearly 10 seconds. Hoffer closing in on Vandenberg as well. Loses a little ground out of the final corner.
Yeah, I've kept my eyes on this one, Joe. It is a good battle. Every lap you get the feeling something is going to erupt here. But Vandenberg keeping Bycroft and Jared both at bay right now.
This has become our closest fight, actually, as Sergio Macias has dropped back to a 2.5 seconds now from Ruocola. Not sure if that was traffic or a mistake from Sergio.
You know, Joe, it could be a bit of awareness going, I'm really, really close here on my incidents. Maybe I just need to back off and try and finish this race here on the podium. But that's going to be tough now because here comes Juha Norlampi.
Yeah, I was going to say, the lack of pace suddenly has really brought him under threat from Norlampi. Wonder if we could see a change for third place, but not in the way that we expected. So at Ben Gillet and Robert Simpkins, they've been having one going back and forth for quite a while as Ben is holding right on top of him. They're coming down the Brabham straight. Simpkins was a little defensive at first, but comes back to the racing line, now feeling a little bit safer. Simpkins way off the apex. Oh, and this gives a run to Ben. Looks to the inside. Is not brave enough on the brakes, though, to take away that spot.
They've got the battle right behind him, though. The one that we've really been watching is Vandenberg, Jared Hofer, and Steve Bycroft. I mean, they're right here into this battle, getting ready to put them a lap down. Joe, we've got 3 against 2. How are these numbers going to work out?
Oof. It's going to be as though 2 catfights converge in an alley. And Vandenberg, as he comes up behind, is being held up. This is the wrong place that he wants to catch them. It's so hard to try and squeeze by. These guys aren't going to give up time on the back half of the course. Who's going to be greedy enough to try and stick a nose in here? Is Hofer going to try and take advantage? They come through Sterling mercifully now to some longer stretches. And look at this sportsmanship from Ben. Pulls over, lifts, lets one of them through, lets 2 of them through. Oh, and Bycroft with a big slide, can't take advantage.
Yeah, it was really nothing. Ben, oh, Ben, careful, Ben, careful. Got a couple wheels out there on the grass. Boy, Bycroft really lost a lot there. I don't think that really had anything to do with Ben, more so than Bycroft just not getting the line right there, but boy.
Oh, look at this. As Simpkins just at the wrong place at the wrong time. Michelle got a good run on them, but it split Hofer and Vandenberg, and that's exactly what Michelle wants. Look at him streak away. That was beautiful traffic work.
Yep, really was. Big advantage of Vandenberg, for sure.
Not missing anything up at the front. Macias now a 2.5 seconds back from Ruokola. Cannot seem to regain the ground.
Joe, something I hadn't mentioned earlier. When was the last time we said anything about Antti Lepisto? You know, he's in 5th place. The Finn has had a flawless drive today, and he's got nobody around him. It's like everybody's afraid of him.
Well, after the scare that he had at the Nürburgring with Gerald Bowman Brooks, I think this is exactly the kind of race that he wants. Just running by himself, getting in a good top 5.
Just what the doctor ordered. Now, see, that where he just turned right there out of Graham Hill Bend, you can take all 4 tires over the curb there, Joe, and not pick up incident points. You got to keep it in that turf, though, that AstroTurf.
A lot of drivers have been using as much of that as possible. It is fair game. Much like real life, whatever you can get away with in these cars, these drivers will take advantage of. We're now going to be down to 2 laps to go this time by. Prix has extended his gap up to 11.3. We'll get the white flag next time by. Sean, the way this championship has been going in the latter half of the season, the wins that we've seen Journo rack up, I'm starting to think this is his championship to lose.
Oh, absolutely, Joe. I think Jared is in a good place right now. I think it's going to be very, very tough for his competition to close in. Juha is going to have another, let's face it, if you can call 4th a subpar day, it's a subpar day for him, and it doesn't really help his chances of getting back into the championship hunt at all.
Oh, and something has happened to Clapp. Oh, commentators curse. We were praising the great day that he had. Did he hit anything, though? This is coming out of Paddock Hill Bend. No, it doesn't look like he makes contact. Just slides it sideways. That Red Bull comes to a halt and gets going once more.
All right, Joe. So for all the trash I just talked about, Juha Norlampi does have a podium finish here in his grasp. He's got 1 lap to try and find a way to get around Sergio Macias. The only thing I don't like about his chances to do that is you saw how much trouble he had, how much trouble Sergio had passing Kali. I think he's going to be pretty good at defending any type of attack.
Yeah, for Juha, unfortunately, I think it has something to do with roosters and milk right now, as he has rocked up to the back of Macias with not much time to do anything with it. And going wide at Surtees certainly not going to help his chances. Loses gobs of time up through Pilgrim's Drop. Meanwhile, Cherno Frisch has been on a tear as he comes through Sterling's Bend. One more corner to go. On the approach to Clearways, he could coast to the line from here with nearly 12 seconds on the next car back. Cherno Frisch takes another win. This time it's at Brands Hatch. Ruokola with a brilliant move on the first lap. Fended off the incredible charge by Sergio Macias. He's going to take second. Macias is going to hold on to that podium. And that's our top three. Noah Lampe, as you said, really looking like his championship hopes are petering out bit by bit, race by race. Lepisto with a top 5. Vandenberg, how about this run, fending off the cars behind for a 6. Jared Hoffer behind him in 7th. And Bycroft in 8th.
And Joe, that's really going to, boy, tighten things up even more in the team championship there with Ruokola with that second place finish and Cherno getting the win. Albalade sitting there in second in the team championship just between Equipe Léger, Gitans. And boy, I'll tell you what, only 10 points separated that going in. I can't wait to see the points next week.
The Italian Nicola Cocci within the top 10 with a 9th QC clap. Well, he had that bit of a half spin coming up into Druids. He's still going to get a top 10 here today, with Livius Mahescu being the last car in the lead lap. We're going to take it to break here. We'll be back after a moment. Sean's going to take it the rest of the way. In the post-race, I'm going to switch over to the absolute beginners. Don't go away.
Welcome back here to the Lotus 79 Classic Teams Championship. Live here from Brands Hatch. What a race today that saw Jarno Frisch get himself another big win here in the series and increase that championship lead just a little bit more over Calle Riacola in second today. Sergio Macias third. What a battle those two had for basically 35 laps. Juha Norlampi fourth. Antti Lepisto with the quiet man today, fifth. Michel Vandenberg, sixth. Jared Hofer, seventh. C. Pycroft, eighth. Nicola Kochi in ninth. And QC Clapp, we followed around a little bit, finishing 10th today. In 11th, it's going to Leviso Mihisu there in 11th. 12th, going to go to Ben Gillette. And 13th, Robert Simpkins. Those two spirited battle today. John Stevens had a bit of trouble, was able to recover good enough to finish 14th. Daniel Gattuso, 15th. 16th, to Timothy Dalton. Good soldier out there today. Got out of the way for many times. Pablo Suarez, a 17th place finish. Pablo a little off today. I think it started with a bad qualifying effort. Paul Schwind, 18th. Steve Sarles, 19th. Had a hard shunt there and not able to finish this race. Randy Shoemake will finish 20th. On the 21st, it's Francois Gagne, the Canadian. Lauren Doolittle, 22nd. And Gerald Bowman Brook was our first casualty today, and unfortunately going to have to finish 23rd. But tell you what, don't have a lot of people lined up for an interview, but who we do have is we have the winner, Jarno Frisch, who had a pretty effortless run here around Brands Hatch today. Tell us how you did it, Jarno.
I'm not hearing anything.
Jarno, I see you keying up there, but we can't hear you, buddy. We'll give Jarno just a second here. A valiant effort, though, Jarno. Really not a lot of trouble, except for when he had to try and get around the traffic. That was a bit of an adventure. But Jarno, can you hear us now? Well, he can. Jarno can hear us, but unfortunately, having trouble getting his mic to queue up. We'll give him just a moment to talk a little bit more about the race. Calle Riacola, Sergio Macias had quite a battle there for most of this race, and it looked like Sergio. Certainly wish one of them had come and talked to us. Sergio had it figured out where he wanted to make that move in the Clark curve. Just never seemed to be able to pull it off. And Joe and I had speculated why he was taking that wider lineup in Paddock Hill Bend. I wonder if that was just a tire saving opportunity or just his natural lineup there. But I guess we're not going to get a chance to find out. Let's pull Jarno back in. Jarno, can you hear us, my friend? Oh boy. Jarno can hear us, but unfortunately having trouble getting his mic going today. And what we'll do is we'll congratulate Jarno and acknowledge his pretty awesome run today and the fact that he is still safely the championship leader. So congratulations to Jarno. And what we'll do now at this point is we'll go ahead and wrap up this thing and put a pretty bow on it. But before we go, we want to thank the Lotus 79 community and them getting this broadcast on here with GSRC. Big shout out to them. We also want to thank the companies that provide the software and hardware for our broadcast. You can see their information here on the screen. Additional thanks go to Eric Ekholm and Casey Lalonde, who provide the wonderful music that you hear on all of these broadcasts. You can look there on the screen for how to get a hold of both of them and get more of their great work. Thanks to the team today, Joe, Dougie Beard, Amjad Yaman. Don't forget to jump on over and watch the absolute beginners here going up live now. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, including upcoming races, you can find it at globalsimracingchannel.com, or you can check out our social media on Twitter at GSR Channel or Facebook. If you just go to Facebook and type in Global Sim Racing Channel, all one word, we'll pull right up there for you, I promise. Now, our next race is going to be next Sunday, August 20th, 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. here in the United States, but I know we're all over the world, so check your local listings, okay? Phillip Island, Sunday, August the 20th. We also have upcoming races for other series listed on your screen, so check those out, mark them down on your calendar. But until next time, race clean, race hard, and I'm pitting out.
The lights are off and away they go.
Extremely loose. He's managed to hold on and they get